Ladies and gentlemen, we need to fix a watch. We'll be seeing this, that, and this, and some of this. Let's go. Today, we've got a 55-year-old Omega on the bench. A certified chronometer, no less. The chronometer mark means that this watch was sent to a testing center where men and women, literally in white coats, confirmed it maintained the highest standards of accuracy. This model of Constellation sold particularly well in Japan. The two-handed dial has a simple elegance that makes sense in a thin dress watch. Pairing this aesthetic with a chronometer standard movement appeals to those who want excellence to be apparent but understated. Finger cots on and let's get to work. While in its youth this watch may have been a certified top-notch timepiece, it's now very middle-aged. Let's see if we can recapture those glory years. Polythene to protect the dial, even if it does look like that ship has sailed. Careful picking up the hands. The dial is damaged enough as it is. Before we go any further, we must address the elephant in the room, the dial. I think it's been repainted. In fact, I know it has. On the original dial for this model, the word automatic is in lowercase. But on this dial, it's in uppercase. Often, the diary finishers leave marks on the underside so they can keep track of which dial is which as they go through the process. Let's see. Bingo! I've two questions. What do these characters mean, and where am I going to find a replacement dial? Let's not get lost in the weeds about the dial. We still need to refresh the movement. We'll remove the balance wheel to avoid accidental damage to the hairspring. It's at the top of a long list of things inside a watch that are easily broken. Next, we'll remove the rotor retaining clip. And now, ease off the rotor itself. Now the automatic works. We need to get that off before we can let down the power. Just these two screws then. Hoik the assembly away from the ratchet wheel. And finally, we can let down the power and remove the stem. Now back over to the keyless and motion works. The first order is to remove the balance cap jewel. Although these shock springs are easy to deal with, it is an imperative they are treated very gently. They will bite you in the bum if given half a chance. I'll remove the jewel using my watchmaker's special stick with some Rodico on the end. I put the jewel in a little pot labelled B for bottom. Put the shock jewel back to the closed position. Now we remove the setting lever spring, yoke, setting lever and whatnot. Pretty grubby. Filthier than a night out in Luton. Some more action for my watchmaker's special stick, this time stopping the yoke spring from turning into the yoke sprung. Nobody really knows what happens to these springs if they escape. My guess is the fourth dimension. Sliding pinion out, then the clutch. I know exactly what you're thinking. We'll remove the cannon pinion just here. But no. The cannon pinion on this watch is here. We'll pluck it with a Presto tool, then get stuck into the rest of the motion work. The 712 caliber movement really is an example of Omega at the top of their game, producing an automatic chronometer that's just 3 millimeters thick. The layout of these wheels is informed by the requirement to keep the movement as thin as possible. Rest of the motion works off, more watchmakers' special stick duty. We'll turn over the movement and get to work on the interesting side. We'll kick off with the crown wheel by removing these two ridiculously small screws. The two ridiculously small screws option is preferable, in my mind, to the other option. A single screw that is usually reverse threaded, but on some movements isn't, often resulting in a snapped off screw head and a world of pain. Two intermediate wheels. The one next to the ratchet wheel slides, so it only engages the ratchet when hand winding, otherwise the crown would be turned by the automatic rotor. That would be a horrible waste of energy. Very occasionally, on some watches, the ratchet wheel screw is reverse threaded, lurking in plain sight waiting to ruin someone's day. Watch out and never ever relax. The unimaginatively named click needs to go. And, of course, another spring seeking escape to a realm beyond the understanding of the human mind, probably Florida. We have a short screw here. I'll have to try and remember not to forget where it goes. Barrel bridge off, barrel out. The train of wheels bridge is next on the list. Good. They're both the same length. One less thing to remember. I'll be frank. I was not expecting to find a nugget of purest green inside this watch. Wheels out in order, second, third, fourth and escape. And finally, the pallet fork. It has very delicate pivots and the little bridge is often difficult to remove, requiring some force. Let's not fall at the last hurdle. We'll also disassemble the automatic works for cleaning. This is the clever bit. No matter the direction the rotor is turning, this winding wheel always goes the right way to wind the watch. And that's it. Pretty much in bits, just need to get the main spring out of the barrel. Seeing the balance as the beating heart of the watch seems an obvious simile, but the real heart of the watch is the mainspring. Watchmakers have for generations passed down a secret from father to son. Don't fanny around with mainsprings, just replace them. At last we can put the balance wheel back on the main plate and pack all the parts safely into the baskets for cleaning. I always gather an immense sense of satisfaction when everything is nice and snug and the cleaning machine can do its work. While the rest of the watch is in the cleaning machine, we can sort out the balance cap jewels. I was going to say a tiny drop of oil, but it's watchmaking. Everything is tiny. Look at it, ridiculously small. First job for reassembly is to install the balance cap jewels, top and bottom. They are often different sizes and must not be mixed up. That is not good. The shock spring is out of place by a fraction of a millimeter. If we try and push it into place now, it will ping off into the void. Let's get the jewel in place first, then carry on the negotiation with the spring. When watchmaking, you don't push, pull, or twist parts. You ask a part to move with your tool, and if it doesn't give you the right reply, the one thing you don't do is try more force. You just ask again in a slightly different way. And we're in. Excellent. This is breaking grease. It allows the mainspring to slip just the right amount in the barrel. An automatic watch is being wound all the time. It's being worn, so we need to allow unneeded energy to be released. Some watchmakers on YouTube apply breaking grease as if they were slathering a hot crumpet in butter. Now, I like hot crumpet as much as anyone, but that's not what's needed here. Controlled application is the watchword. If you're serious about recapturing a watch's lost youth, a new replacement mainspring is the only way to go. These Omega barrels tend to be quite delicate. I prefer to close them by hand and feel what's happening. And as ever, we check the arbor is free to move before fitting the barrel in the watch. I love this part of the process. Squeaky clean jewels, a jumble of parts coming together to create something that's almost alive. That just dropped into place first go. I am a watchmaking god. Even watchmaking gods need to double check everything is free to move before screwing the bridge down, though. It's the barrel bridge next. Unfortunately, I didn't record all of the assembly. Please accept my apologies. Just remembered in time that there's a short screw on the left side of this bridge. Now we need to lubricate the pallet jewels and escape wheel teeth. This may look a bit fiddly, and that's because it is. These pallet jewels are 1/3 of a millimeter wide. Who decided we need to oil these? Bloody ridiculous. Anyway, now that's done, it's back over to the other side to fit the keyless and motion work. First job, lubricate this jewel that's about to get covered up. Clutch. Sliding pinion. Winding stem. Yo. Yoke spring. Need to get these wheels on now as they are covered by the setting lever spring that comes next. Fitting the cannon pinion is a bit awkward on this movement. It's a friction fit that needs to be pushed down while simultaneously engaging with the teeth of two other wheels. Quick check that winding and hand setting operation looks okay, then we can move on. Refit the balance again. We'll lubricate the watch, letting it run for a few minutes as a first check of basic operation before we fit the automatic module. The balance has been taken out one last time while we install the automatic module. As soon as I've finished putting this together, it's coming apart again. The dial is being sent to Dial Hospital. I'll do a short follow-up video of the results. Subscribe if you'd like to be notified and see how it turned out. Now we wait until tomorrow to put the watch on the time grapher and see how we've done. It takes a while for the lubrication to settle in. Today is now tomorrow and we can take a look. Anyone can take an old watch regulated to within a couple of seconds a day in a dial-up position. It's what happens when we move the watch into a vertical position that informs if we've still got a potential chronometer. While I can't say for sure, I can say that this watch might still be running to chronometer standards. Very happy with that. If you're still watching, well done. I trust that you will have a marvelous week and everyone you meet is fabulous. Farewell until next time.